listening to Front Range Hockey with Scott McDonald and CC Hockley.
DJ Sky Sonic's in the house. Yeah. It's only the second time we've got to use that theme since we've employed her services.
It's true. It's been a while.
Here we are. We're has back, been a while. Yeah. Last episode, November 11th, 2021.
Oh my
now
God,
here
really?
we are.
Almost like
January
2 months,
5th. It has been 2 months. Yes. But, Scott took some time off from Colorado hockey now. Went to travel, went to Costa Rica, went to a cabin up in the woods. He was telling me before we started here. And, hell, I've had a friend visit from out of town, stayed with us a couple days at the beginning of December, went to Florida to visit the girlfriend's grandpa. And then I went to Boston on a whim. I don't know if you saw that, Scott.
Yeah. The Genesis concert.
Correct. Yes.
How was
it? Phil is 70 years old. Phil Collins is 70 years old. And so his voice is definitely not what it used to be, but by God, he is still that same charismatic, giving it as much as he can. And God, the musicians, the band is fantastic. His son Nick is the drummer, and he got the family gene. He just knocked it out of the park with all the drumming that he did.
Yeah.
So
might be one of the last times, like the US will see that. So you got to be.
Oh, absolutely.
That's awesome.
Yeah. They called the tour The Last Domino as kind of a tongue-in-cheek reference to one of their songs, Domino, off of their 1986 album, Invisible Touch, which, yes, but anyway, I'll take my music geek glasses off, and put my hockey geek glasses on, because this is Front Range Hockey, and me and Scott have been reunited after almost a couple months, and it definitely feels so good. I tell you what.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely. I thought it was just a month, man. I didn't realize it was 2 months. That's wild.
It was. Yeah. It's just time is irrelevant these days, and it either goes super slow or super fast. So yeah. But welcome listeners on YouTube as we're streaming live here, and episode number 30. And for those Jersey geeks like myself, Clint Malarchuk wore the number 30 for the Quebec Nordiques in 1982 to 1987. Brian Elliott,
Clint Malarchuk on YouTube. It's just a warning.
one of the most gruesome hockey injuries of all time. But
yeah,
his life. Fun fact: one of the early head coaches for the Idaho Steelheads in the WCHL, Clint Malarchuk, actually dipped his toe into the head coaching pool for a little bit. So,
is that right?
But
and now he's doing a bunch of just like mental health advocacy
exactly
kind of things too, right? Yeah.
Yes, for
awesome.
Sure. So most recently, Brian Elliott in 2011 wore number 30 for the Avs. People kind of forget he was on the team, but yes, he did dress for the Avs. More recently, Spencer Martin, 2017. He is in the Abbotsford Canucks, Vancouver Abbotsford Canucks system, and guy that is playing for Stockton now, former Colorado Eagles and Colorado Avalanche goaltender Adam Werner. So he's Swedish, so you have to pronounce it Werner instead of Werner. Werner.
Werner. Yeah.
Like we're Americans, Werner. But anyway, episode number 30. Enough about that. Scott, I feel like I've been talking a lot, so I'm going to kind of kick it over to you, and anything else you want to update the people about in regards to your sabbatical from Colorado hockey now and what you've been up to for almost the past couple months.
Yeah, well, hey everyone, happy to be back. It's been a while, and it was much needed time off. I guess probably this might have been the last time, our last podcast 2 months ago, and I kind of announced I was taking a little bit of a break, and it's been nice. And I took that very seriously. I've been off Twitter. You guys have noticed that, and obviously I haven't written anything in the last couple months either for the podcast. And it's good to just kind of reset and get your mind right. And I think that's what I needed. I'm ready to get back into it, but it was good. Yeah, like you said, I went to Costa Rica. Honestly, didn't watch too much hockey. Just again to clear my head entirely of that. But we're all caught up now and everything, and I stay up to date on Twitter and all that kind of stuff. But took a full step back. Vacation with some family. Been hanging out with some friends. We're finally starting to get some snow in Colorado, snowing currently, so we're all excited about that. And went skiing and taking advantage of that, and just staying busy with the other job. But, like I said, I think we're going to be back regularly scheduled. Me and Cece talked about this last month, just, taking the entire month of December off. Like, let's just reset. It's obviously, the holidays, we're visiting family, all that kind of stuff, and just, mentally reset too. And Cece's a super busy guy with, his numerous podcasts and his job's ramping up too. So, we needed it, but I think we're going to be back pretty regularly here. Hopefully every week, but of course, life gets in the way sometimes, and we might, have to take a week off. We've done it in the past, but we'll try to be back, routinely as we, kick off the back half of the season. We're in January, and obviously we postponed some games, but we're getting back into it, and you might even see me start typing some stuff up soon. So look forward to that.
Yeah. All right. I always enjoy Scott's writing, so that definitely piques my interest there for sure. But yeah, no, we would be remiss if we didn't mention the Boulder County fires that occurred at the end of the year of 2021, and the devastation. Of course, everybody at Bob and Boulder, popular follow on Avs Twitter, lost his home, and so. If you want to donate directly to help his family out, or if you want to help out just in general, for the local Red Cross. I mean, I've donated to the Red Cross for years. I remember, first in high school, 2005, Hurricane Katrina, that kind of got me plugged in, donating blood. So any way that you can give back is what I'm saying. Do it. Just help those folks out in Boulder County. I think it's almost or just above 1,000 homes that were lost in Superior and Louisville.
Outrageous. And I mean, go and like, I have been staying off of Twitter, so I didn't really see like any news updates or anything like that. And it was a particularly busy day at work. What was this, like the 30th, 29th? I don't know when this happened.
I want to say it was the 30th or the 31st, like somewhere.
Day before New Year's Eve, something like that. I don't know. It's like the last day before, we took some time off of work. So it was just a busy day, met with a lot of clients and all that kind of stuff, and just staying off the internet, like in general. And the text started rolling in around like, 4 or 5 o'clock. Like, are you seeing this? And like, I went to the University of Colorado Boulder. It's close to home, and thankfully, personally, none of my friends or family or anything like that was affected by this. But, when I finally turned on the television and saw what was happening, it's just like, it looked like, a scene out of an apocalyptic movie. Like, just, the aerial views, the aerial shots or whatever, there's just multiple little tiny fires and just like buildings on fire. And like, it seemed like the world was ending. And this, amid all of the COVID things that are happening. And, this is like officially one of the most contagious, viruses, right behind measles, I think, of all time. And all my friends and family have it, and, they're all okay. But, I know the same is for you guys listening right now and watching. It's, everyone and their mom has COVID, and it's dangerous. And then this, on top of it, was just wild. And 1,000 homes, and you think about each of those homes, and it's, a couple of days after Christmas, and, families live there, children live there, just unwrap their Christmas presents and whatnot. And, they lost them, and they burned to the ground, and that's memories. And, I teared up a little bit. I cried a little bit, and it's just really sad watching that kind of stuff. And, like you said, Bob, like, I think a lot of people can connect with, at Bob in Boulder, and he was one of my first followers, on Twitter, and, we go way back, and, we're doing everything we can to support him. But, it's not just Bob. His story is, hundreds of others. And it's just really unfortunate, what had happened, but, it's all part of the story, and like, we'll come back stronger for it. And, it's been a shitty couple of years, right? 2020, and then somehow 2021 feels like it was worse. But we're flipping the script here to 2022, and just praying it's gonna be better. But yeah, obviously thoughts go out to Bob and to everybody else in the Boulder County and Superior and Louisville, and everyone that lost their homes in that tragedy. It was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you had the King Super shooting that rocked that community. Just it feels like yesterday, and it was a number of months ago. It might have even been a year or so ago. But yeah, I mean, definitely going through it. And like you said, new year, let's support our people. And even if you're not in this community, I'm sure they won't mind. American currency still spends the same in Colorado as it does in anywhere else of the 49 states and in the world. I mean, if Eurolanch wants to donate, I'm sure they will, because they're so plugged into Colorado here. But Anyway,
Absolutely.
yes.
And kindness and empathy and passion are free. Like just, be
Global
there.
language.
Be
Yes.
there for each other. Like it's, the last couple of years, like you think this would be an excuse, 2020 and 2021 to kind of come together and team up and be one big family and get through this together. But, we've seen it create the most just divisive communities and that we've ever seen. And it just seems to get worse. And, hopefully we can kind of come together and rally around these sorts of, unfortunate events. But that's all we can hope for. Just be nice to each other, hold the door for someone, say hi, pat someone on the back, hug someone, do whatever you have to do. Doesn't have to, you don't have to pay people anything, but obviously it'd be nice to support some of those families, but just don't be an asshole at the end of the day. Be nice.
Wisdom from Scott McDonald. Don't be an asshole, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Oh,
intense.
All right. You know what that means? It means it's time to talk about the Avalanche. First things first.
Oh yeah, that's what this podcast is about, huh?
Oh yeah,
Jeez,
we're talking about hockey. Well,
20 minutes in. What you gotta? Yeah, apologies. It's been 2 months since we've talked, and a lot's happened in 2 months. As is the case for always, it seems. But
yes,
let's talk
yeah.
hockey.
Well, let's talk hockey. There was kind of a divisional game. They call them those 4-point games in the hockey world. Avalanche played the Chicago Blackhawks there at the United Center in Chicago. And let's give a quick rundown of the action because we all know what the climax is going to be. We've seen it all over social media today. I watched it live. But yeah, Colorado taking a quick 2-0 lead after the first period. Goals from Eric Johnson and Alex Newhook. Newhook exhibiting some big patience, walking that puck in basically to the doorstep of Marc-Andre Fleury and just showing maturity beyond his years, really, in regards to that. So good for Newhook.
Beginning of the season when he got sent down, that was one of the things that Bednar wanted to see from him was more maturity and playing physically and not losing the puck battles. And I think we're seeing that. It's good. It doesn't happen all the time when someone gets sent down. You look at a Martin Kaut. You're hoping that they learn their lesson, they get called back up, and they're NHL ready at that point, but that's not always the case. But it looks like for Newhook, I mean, he's a special talent, and we're finally starting to see that first round potential, and how well he was doing in college for those couple of years in Boston, and we're starting to see it. And yeah, like you said, it was just a very mature play. The patience there, especially with a lot of these young guys, immature players, you'll just see them just firing pucks from all areas, which the Avalanche love that, and we love shooting the puck too. But anytime you have the skill like that and the patience, and you're not afraid to lose the puck, I think that shows some maturity as well. And it's good that we're seeing that already. And like Newhook's first full season, he responded well to getting sent down, and we're starting to see some good things coming out of it.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely didn't take it as a rib or as an indictment of his talent or lack thereof. I'm sure a lot of those young guys in perception, can think, well, am I not good enough? We've talked about Martin Kaut and the demons that he's battled, mentally in regards to coming up and coming down with the Avs and the Eagles. But Newhook, I mean, he wherever he's played, he has slotted in and been a great addition to either the Avalanche or the Eagles, and really showing out with the Eagles in the pandemic season last year. In 2021, him and Sampo Ranta really hitting it off well with the Eagles. Ranta still with the Eagles, but yeah, I mean, that seems to be just kind of the attitude that he has, or lack thereof. He doesn't really have a bad attitude about it. He's got a good attitude. Yeah, exactly. So, well, near the end of the first period, Marc-Andre Fleury made an amazing glove save on Tyson Jost after a good tic-tac-toe passing sequence. And that kind of set the tone for the second and the third periods, because the Avs let the Blackhawks back in. Jonathan Toews with a goal. The other Toews on the ice, not Devon, but Jonathan Toews with a goal for Chicago in the second. And then Alex DeBrincat decided to turn on the special teams juices. 2 third period power play goals, 40 seconds apart, because that first one was a 5-on-3. And so they still had that 5-on-4, and the Avs PK, which we will get to. Hold your horses. We will get to that Avs PK here in a second. Crumbling and allowing Chicago back into the game with 3 unanswered. Chicago up 3-2. Guess who answers the bell? The Condor takes a shot from the right wing boards. It was kind of on a prayer, and he just kind of lobbed it on net through traffic, and lo and behold, you got Nazem Kadri up front there and another Blackhawks player. Count it, 3-3 tie game. And that's less than 9 minutes left in the third. And we head to overtime. And guess who shows up in overtime? All hail Kale, the title of this episode. My goodness. He comes down the boards on the left wing side, pulls the emergency brake, breaks Kirby Doc's ankles, and then walks it in. Forehand, backhand, lifts it up over the shoulder of Marc-Andre Fleury, and count it, top shelf, game over in overtime. Avs win 4-3. So, yeah, Avs hosts Winnipeg. The Avs host Winnipeg tomorrow night at Ball Arena, so they're coming back from Chicago. But, Scott, I tell you, I saw the Blackhawks come back. I wasn't watching the game, unfortunately, but I saw the Blackhawks come back 3-2 after the Avs leading 2-0. And then I saw EJ tie it on the box score, the update, the Google update box score. And I'm like, okay. I look over to my girlfriend. I said, we got to turn the Avs game on. So we did watch the last bit of the third period, last 5 minutes, watched overtime. And I don't care if it was Cale Makar. I don't care if it was, an AHL player. I don't care anybody on any team pulling that kind of move. It was filthy. It was dirty. It was downright pornographic, Scott.
Unreal. Yeah, I mean, it's one of the best goals. I mean, obviously, it's probably one of the best goals we've seen this season, and one of the best I've seen, from an Avalanche player, at least in the past few years that I've been covering the team. And I mean, unreal. Like we all know, how elite of a player Cale Makar is, and he kind of might have just sealed his fate as the Norris Trophy winner with that play there, and kind of putting him on a national stage and in the national spotlight. But I mean, crazy. It's like we've seen it, all the time. We see it in practice. We see it in games, just the elite skating of Cale Makar. And that I've never seen someone, turn around so quickly like that. Like, not even, Nathan McKinnon. Like, I've never seen someone just do a spin move like that just on a dime. And then, showing off his hands there too at the end. And, you're playing against, a Stanley Cup winning goaltender and, a goalie that's a Vezina Trophy winner. Like, I mean, it's, absurd what he did to him. Just totally undressed him. And, that's the most we've seen Cale Makar probably celebrate any goal I've ever seen. He's scored, numerous now at this point, but, he actually, he's very emotionless when it comes to celebrating. It's just kind of, dust your shoulders off and not a big deal. I do this all the time. And, he does, but he's just one of the most humble players in the league. And, his post-game press conference after the game too is just funny. I mean, he just, like, yeah, I mean, I got kind of lucky with that play. Like, what do you mean you got lucky? Like, that was unreal, man. Like, you didn't get lucky. Like, a puck didn't just bounce to your skates and you tapped it in. Like, that was, you carried that thing, down the ice through up the half wall, and you're the one that skated the whole thing and didn't lose the puck once and whatever. I mean, again, and that just makes you love the guy even more. Like, he's just, a big teddy bear, and the Avs are incredibly lucky to have that guy. I don't know, I don't have to say that. Everyone knows that. But, I think he's the Norris Trophy winner. You can, count it. I'll say it right now. We'll check back on the tapes, when the after season awards come up. But I think he's the Norris Trophy winner, and he's just having an unreal year. What does he have? 14 goals, something like that? 15 goals? I don't know.
I'm not sure. I haven't checked his statistics lately, but it's
14. So 28, 14 goals in 25 games, 28 points. He's a +10. I mean,
wow.
And you got to remind yourself, this guy's a defenseman. Like, he's a first pairing defenseman. He's not supposed to be putting up stats like that, and he's not supposed to be leading the team in all these categories, but he is. And it's just, I mean, what a guy. And it's awesome that those plays happen, and he gets the some national attention, and it's been all over every hockey website today, and it was on NHL Network this morning, and the team at NHL Network was debating whether or not it was the the best goal they've seen in the last couple of years. And it's it was unreal. I mean, that's all I got to say.
I mean, you remember earlier, a few games ago, I say a few games ago, but again, time is irrelevant. There is no measuring stick for how long things ago are in 2020, 2021, now 2022. But you remember him going coast to coast and just leaving everyone in the dust, and just, the comparisons to Bobby Orr, just taking that puck coast to coast. And it's just, he continues to solidify his case every game. And every goal, every assist, every shift, he solidifies his game. as one of the best, if not the best defenseman in the NHL.
Yeah, and like of all time too. Like I saw some crazy stat that obviously it's super early. Like he just crossed the the 100 game mark or whatever it was, but he was like the fastest to 100 points, or like the third fastest, fourth fastest in like NHL history as far as like defense go. Up there with like Bobby Orr is like right above. It's just so absurd to see the company that he's in. Like I mean, this is like a 21-year-old kid who is just playing like this night in and night out, and he's already among the NHL elite. He's setting these records and he's his name there. Again, the game, the greatest of all times. So, obviously, if he keeps this up for the rest of his career, which doesn't look like he's slowing down, we're 3-4 years into this thing, and he just gets better and better, and that's how it should be. And I expect that trajectory to continue. And he's locked up for the next 8 years or whatever as an Avalanche. So I know we're all excited about that and excited to see what he can continue doing. But he's going to go down as if he keeps this up as one of the greatest to ever do it in the NHL.
Right. All right. We've talked about the good news. Obviously you blow the 2-0 lead. You allow 3 goals. 2 of them were on the power play. So we got to talk about the penalty kill. And Avs 23rd in the league in kill percentage at 80.5%. They've allowed 7.9 power play goals per game. And they allowed 2 last night against Chicago, who was 17th in the league in power play percentage. So it's not like they were a juggernaut or anything. And they're more towards the bottom in the Central Division standings. But as we know, division games, anything can happen. You can never count any team out. I don't care if they're at the top of the standings or at the bottom of the standings. Anything can happen in those Central Division games or divisional games in general. Scott, power play, penalty kill rather, for the Avalanche. I know that they're dealing a story of the Colorado Avalanche always dealing with some injuries and things like that. But, Logan O'Connor, who got knocked down and gotten tooth knocked out, just your guy there, just completely being a hockey player and continuing to play, of course. But yeah, Logan O'Connor on the first penalty kill unit. And I guess I'm just kind of rambling on here, but what can the Avs do to improve the penalty kill that they haven't already done?
Yeah, I mean from what I see, the biggest glaring issue right now is I don't want to chalk it all up to team defense, but it really is the penalty kill. That's kind of the outlier when you look at the the stats across the board. And the funny thing is I wish we could go back and review we can, go back and review the tape, but I wish we had some way of like editing that stuff in. But, beginning of the season, it was a slow start. We expect that every single year with the Avalanche, they get the injuries out of the way early. Hopefully that's it. It seems like that's been a trend so far, but again, fingers crossed, knock on wood or whatever. But, they're struggling to score goals. It looked like the depth was, not great, which we expected because they lost a lot of, key guys last season. And then, coming into this year, just, it wasn't looking as strong as last season's depth. But, they are now the, one of the best scoring teams in the NHL. And they lead the, entire NHL in goals for per game. So offense is back. Offense is there. But yeah, it's that defense and, maybe a bit of goaltending as well. And the PK, like actually, I just had it pulled up. I'm going to pull it up again. I think PK is currently 5th worst in the NHL. So they're at 73.6% kill rate, which is, never good. And there's really no, I don't know, if there's a way one answer to fix it. Being consistent in games and being consistent with, having a healthy lineup certainly helps. But yeah, I don't really know. That's something, if I'm Coach Bednar, I'm working on that. The most power play seems to have, they're middle of the pack right now, but they're improving. They're getting there. But PK, I mean, the Avalanche are normally a very, very good PK team, and it starts with Tyson Jost and Logan O'Connor, and they're two of the best, if not, they are probably the best killers on the Avalanche roster. And having Nichushkin out, he's another one up there too. That doesn't help certainly. So we could chalk it up to the injuries and the inconsistencies within the lineup. And you hope that's all it is. And once they get a fully healthy roster, which we're getting there, we're so close, like 95% healthy at this point, but they're still missing a big gun and Val Nichushkin, just with his speed and, his reach and his size. And he's a big boy and he's great on the PK. So, maybe that's what it is. I don't know. There is never, one answer to it, but I think just we'll see that improve as, the games get a little more consistent, and, they've had a couple weeks off. They're missing some key guys on that front. And, you hope to see some improvement there, but, across the board, if that's where you're lacking, you're not going to. Special teams is huge, in every single game, but they're still finding ways to win, and they're one of the best teams in the NHL right now, and they have been for the last month that they've been playing before the pause, and they're scoring goals again. That's what everyone is concerned about, and they're scoring more goals than the other team. So you hope in the playoffs that's when it really matters. They rectify these issues and mitigate some of these problems, but for now I'm not super concerned about it. Just hoping that Bachushkin comes back healthy and go from there. Start playing some more than a couple games in a row. That pod and not that kind of stuff. So
yeah, and I mean,
yeah,
you've got the Avs currently third in the Central Division. They are a few games behind. Games played, rather 29 games played. St. Louis has 33. They're second. Nashville has 34, and they're first. So I guess I know that the NHL doesn't do the AHL thing with points percentage because all teams play the same number of games. In the AHL, you've got some teams playing 68 games. You've got some teams playing 72. You have some teams playing 76. That's going to change next year. But the NHL, normal season, they play 82 games. So the Avs currently have the best points percentage, even though they've played 4 or 5 games less than St. Louis and Nashville. 0.69% point percentage. Nice. So, but yeah, I mean, moving forward, again, with COVID protocols ramping up again in both Canada, more so in Canada, games being canceled up there, but Winnipeg's coming to Denver. Avs are 19-8-2. So that is a great record, 11-2-1 at home. So yeah, they've got that game against Winnipeg tomorrow night on Thursday, the 6th. And they've got that to look forward to in regards to, getting another 4-point game, as they call it. So any closing thoughts on the Avs before we move forward? Anything you want to address that that you may have noticed over the past couple months?
No, I mean, other than, I guess I told you so that they would they would improve over, the first month of the year when everyone was freaking out about it, and we told them to calm down. It's like, if you've been following this team for the last 4 or 5 years, this has been kind of a consistent pattern that we've seen. It's they always struggle right out of the gate, and I don't know what it is. There's generally some turnover involved and line shuffling, and it takes some time to build up that chemistry, and you can't just do it in the 2 weeks that you have training camp and practice and things like that. Like it takes game speed and adjusting to that kind of stuff. So we're starting to see that. Again, they're scoring over 4 goals a game on average, and that's well above the second place team as far as goals for per game. And we're seeing the results. They're playing good, and everyone's stepping up. And what's been great is Nathan McKinnon hasn't even been a huge name this season. Like if anything, people are saying his name like what's that, like why is he not scoring goals and things like that. He's putting up points, but he's kind of taking a back seat to some of these guys. Like Logan O'Connor is becoming one of the better players on the team. He was just did an NHL Network feature on him. He showed up on that, so he's getting some national attention, and it's great to see that. We've all seen this. You've been following the Eagles for the last few years, the DU pioneers like myself. Like you've seen him rise to the ranks, and you knew he had it in him, and it's great to see it. And he's he's scoring a bunch of goals, and you're seeing guys step up. Young guys are stepping up, and the depth is stepping up, and everything's starting to click and fire on all cylinders. And this is the team that we expected to see, as far as being the Stanley Cup favorites and whatnot. So yeah, it's great to see. Obviously, hopefully the defense works itself out a little bit. It's not even a huge issue. If there's going to be one complaint, it's going to be maybe the team defense and the goaltending is a little sub average every once in a while, and the PK is not too hot, but they're winning games, and that's all that matters. And that those other things, hopefully those are just little kinks that they work out before the playoffs start, and they're all good to go there. But yeah, I mean, no complaints so far, and I think most Avs fans would agree with me. It's things are looking up, things are looking great, and let's keep it rolling.
All right, let's talk Colorado Eagles, shall we? Let's talk about, well, this was going to be my first point, and that's why I'm kind of stumbling over my words here a little bit, but the fact that the Avs had 3 guys on their taxi squad. Oh, hey, by the way, December 26th, we all got a Christmas present, not a late Christmas present, holiday present. The NHL reinstituted the taxi squads. So
It's great
the
for the
Avalanche,
NHL, bad for the
yeah,
AHL.
yeah, yep. Great for the NHL, bad for the AHL, exactly, and the ECHL to some extent because a lot of those guys are bumping up to the AHL, and now they got to employ SPHL players, single A players going up to the AA level,
which is a great opportunity for them. So I mean, it's there's a positive and negative to everything, but yeah, no, for the AHL, it's not good news.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but yeah, they had 3 guys this morning. I was writing up the outline a little bit, and I'm like, oh yeah, so we got 3 guys on the taxi squad at the NHL level. We got Cal Burke, fresh off a NHL contract. I know our good friend
Well
Marie
deserved.
Sexton, yes, has been really high on Cal Burke, and rightfully so. And so earning that NHL contract, signing a 1-year deal this year, rather, on December 17th. Then you had Mikhail Maltsev, and then you also have Hunter Miska. Those 3 guys were on the taxi squad this morning. And then the Eagles announced at about 9:45 that all 3 of them have been transferred back to the Colorado Eagles. So you get your 4th and 5th leading scorers on the team back before your series this weekend against Tucson, at Tucson. I had to look at my Peanuts calendar. I got a new one for 2022. So
did you now? Good. Happy to hear that.
Yes,
very happy
I know. You got to keep things consistent. Got to be on brand, for whatever reasons. But anyway, I know Scott was concerned about it, so I had to bring it up.
I really was. But it's a staple. If you've been listening to us for a while, it's been a staple, the Peanuts calendar. So
yes,
we're glad it's going to live on for another year.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it seems to be an annual Christmas gift at this point here in the Hockley household. That's for sure. But I digress. So those 3 guys coming back to the Eagles, and let's talk December. My goodness. So, let's see here. So Tucson, they hosted Tucson. They lost that first game 4-1, and then they rebounded and won the next game 4-0. And I saw that next game, the 4-0 shutout, and the Eagles played a full 60 minutes. But the thing is, like the last 2-game series that they've played, that tends to be a staple at the AHL level, is that the teams tend to play just 2 games a weekend against one team. Now, it's a little different in the Central Division because they're a lot more close, and maybe out in California. But if you're Colorado or Henderson or Tucson, you have to travel, play these 2-game sets with these teams, and move on. So anyway, since the beginning of November, I looked up the stat today. The Eagles have split 7 of the last 9 2-game sets that they have played. And there's a joke that we make on the Calder Farmstead from last season that the Tucson Roadrunners are Jekyll and Hyde because they pulled that pretty much all season. And now the Eagles are kind of pulling a little Jekyll and Hyde. They're kind of doing that as well. They can't sweep a weekend to save their life. Although, actually, yeah, they did. They swept Bakersfield on December 10th and 11th. And then they lost 2 games against Stockton, at Stockton. They lost one at San Jose and then won one. And then they had an overtime loss against Iowa. They kind of they had a 2-0 lead and they kind of blew it going down the stretch and lost it in overtime. And then they won another game 3-2 in a shootout against Iowa on New Year's Eve. So just up and down, just inconsistent again.
I mean, they could be more 500 if they tried. It's been, we were hoping to see some improvements on that, but it's kind of been the story every time we have one of these podcasts. It's just like, they're 500 again, or maybe 1 game above, 1 game below. And I think right now they're 1 game above 500, but it just seems that that's going to be the trend, and it's not going to get any easier. Going back to the taxi squad, it's going to be rough, for the Eagles in particular and for Cronin's staff. And, it's unfortunate, but hopefully it takes is just, a hot month and, start sweeping some of these series and, don't split them. And, we'll see a postseason birth before you know it.
Yeah. And it's going to be easy in the AHL this year to make the postseason, especially in the Pacific Division, because 7 of the 9 teams in the Pacific Division are going to make the postseason. So even if the Eagles are kind of struggling in the middle there, I know that my co-host over at the Calder Farmstead, Sean O'Brien, his analytics model kind of had the middle of the Pacific Division as a muddled mess in regards to season projections,
which is what we're seeing right now. So that's
exactly.
Yeah.
As you're looking on the AHL.com, you'll see it's Ontario, Stockton, and pretty much everybody else. It's like, and the model was really high. The analytics model that Sean has on Colorado and San Diego to do well this season. However, that hasn't really been the case, especially for San Diego. But
yeah, kind of shocking.
Yeah. San Diego at the bottom there, 9-12-1. But we're talking about Colorado here because this is the Front Range Hockey Podcast and not the Pacific Ocean, beautiful city of San Diego, which in German means, no, I'm kidding. I'm not going to say that. Don't you do it.
Leave it out.
No.
Great movie, but
great movie. Very quotable. Lanolin, like sheep's wool. How now, brown cow. Anyway, so Eagles are 6 out of 9 teams. Technically a playoff spot, even that low in the division. So they're 12-11-5. They've had 3 overtime losses and 2 shootout losses. Like you said, Scott, just a skosh over 500, 0.518 points percentage. But they are 2-0-1 in their last 3 games. So they are streaking somewhat according to the AHL.com. But I tell you, to have Hunter Miska, to have the option to put Hunter Miska in net, or to opt for and Eustace for all, and Eustace Aunanen, you could go with him as well. So to have options in net is great. I think Trent Miner is a decent choice as well. If you need a third goaltender, I know that he's been bouncing back and forth between the Eagles and the Utah Grizzlies. I think we even saw a Peyton Jones sighting in one game. And so, yeah, to have those options in net, to have your guys, all of your guys, your Dylan Securas, your Kiefer Sherwoods, and like I said, Cal Burke, Mikhail Maltsev, and Jordan Gross putting together quite a great season on the score sheet as the leading scoring defenseman for the Eagles this year. I was impressed. I was impressed when that last game I saw against Tucson. Jordan Gross really, I mean, he's gotten better as the season has progressed.
He even got an NHL call up too, and played in the game there. So that's
right. Yeah.
I mean, that's a testament to his skill. And I think, did he get a contract? I want to say he got a contract extension. Maybe no. Maybe it was just. Maybe
I'm
I
not
don't
sure.
know. I don't know. It's
Jordan
not spent so much time on it in
Gross
case I'm wrong, but
now we have to. Yeah,
either way, yeah. I mean, it's just he's like, he got an NHL game, didn't play that great, but it's still a testament nonetheless, and a feather in his cap, so to speak. He's been great, and some of these guys, the Eagles, pulled in this offseason it's paying off in dividends. Obviously the Jordan Gross signings looked great. He's their top scoring defense, and Dylan Sekura is their top scoring forward, which we knew those guys were going to be pretty good, at least Dylan Sekura, but. Yeah, I mean, we just hope, obviously, on the Avalanche side of things, Avalanche fans I know are concerned about, what's going on with Shane Bowers, who's been battling, injuries, as seemed to be, the unfortunate case of his career so far, as, he can't stick in the lineup. He's getting hurt. He's got some shoulder issues, I think. And, same kind of thing with Martin Kaut. And it's one of those things, like, it's getting to that point. I think Shane Bowers is a little bit closer than Martin Kaut, but I don't know, how much time Martin Kaut's got left, in this organization. But he's having a very average year. They both are, with the Eagles, and we'll see what's going on. But I know that's always the question I get asked, all the time is, on Avalanche Twitter, is like, what's going on with the Eagles, and more particularly what's going on with, those two guys. And, we'll see. That's only time will tell, and hopefully they can both stay healthy and stay in mode. And I think they'll both have every opportunity, next season in training camp to make the team. And I think they might, or at least one of them will. But it's been a mediocre year, I guess, for the two of them so far, and the Eagles just in general.
Yeah, I mean. And you did see an improvement in play in regards to, Jason Megna coming back. I know that he was, on the Avalanche probably as a healthy scratch more often than not. I haven't checked the games that he played this year, but Megna, not exactly. I think I went to the Avalanche in Nashville game a few weeks back, and I think Megna was actually playing on ice for the Avs. But yeah, to have him on the Eagles, to have Gabe Fontaine come back from injury, to have Ryan Wagner come back from injury a few games ago. Well, probably about a month and a half ago now, not just a few. But again, time is irrelevant, and I don't know what anything looks like anymore. But yeah, the Eagles, like we said, 0.518 points percentage, and the future for them, the next couple weekends, they hit the road to go to Tucson, like I mentioned earlier. 2 games Saturday and Sunday on the 14th and 15th. Oh, sorry. That's this weekend, not the 14th and 15th. It is actually the 8th and the 9th. So Saturday and Sunday, the 8th and the 9th, they play Tucson. I was reading ahead on the outline. Please don't fault me for that. Then they head home to host Milwaukee on January 14th and 15th. And then they have Iowa on the 21st and the 22nd. And both of those, Milwaukee and Iowa, as Colorado is known to do, Friday and Saturday games. Pretty rare to see a Sunday game in Loveland, but both of those series are Friday, Saturday sets. And those are, guess what? Those are all 2-game sets, 2-game series. So we'll see if the Eagles can put together a sweep and kind of get some momentum going and put together a win.
That's all it takes. Just get hot for a month or 2 weeks. Win 4 games in a row, and all of a sudden you're in an entirely different spot in the standings, and that's all it takes. Like you touched on numerous times. With the AHL standings this year, it's going to be easier to make the postseason, but
right.
There's just so much parity, I guess. It's just so close. Between all those teams, and there's 40 games left in the year. We're not even halfway through the season yet, so we got plenty of time, but. And who knows what happens with the whole COVID situation, and taxi squads are going to kind of throw a wrench into the Eagles' plans, no doubt, and just AHL as a whole. But again, all it takes is just throw together a couple wins in a row. It's the same thing we talked about with the Avalanche at the beginning of the year, and look what they're doing. They're one of the better teams in NHL now, and that's all it takes. The confidence up, and I have no doubt in my mind the Eagles are at least capable of it. And let's get started.
I love those. Those are so great. Thank you, DJ Skysonics. Woo! All right, let's go to collegiate news. And we've got some catching up to do because at least one of these 3 teams that we cover on the college level has turned it around quite a bit. I know that the Denver Pioneers, last time we talked Denver hockey, the Pios were struggling a little bit. Again,
real bad.
November 11th. But then here's what happened. They beat top 10 Western Michigan in 2 games, Miami of Ohio in 2 games, Arizona State in 2 games. You want to talk about a winning streak and building momentum. They split a weekend with number 5 Minnesota Duluth, finish off New Year's Eve and New Year's Day with a win and a tie over Alaska Fairbanks. All that said, DU is now 12-5-1 overall with a 5-3-0 conference record. They also boast a 8-0-1 record at home at Magnus Arena there. So ranked 7th, USCHO.com, and 6th for the USA Today and the RPI rankings in the nation. And they also are 3rd in the standings in the NCHC. And boy, did they turn things around after we last aired an episode.
They found the offense, that's for sure. I mean, they're scoring in droves now at this point, and it's good to see. I mean, at least I was like, my language, the way I was talking about it is like, we're just going to write this year off as it's it is what it is. They lost a bunch of good seniors and NHL draft picks and things like that, and it's like it's going to be a shitty year, and that's okay. Hopefully they start building up, and I'm eating my words now, and. They score. So I'm looking at it right now. As far as the NCHC is concerned, they scored the most goals in the entire NCHC, 84 goals, and it's not even close. Like the next, I think Western Michigan has 73, and they've allowed some of the fewest goals. So they found their offense, and it's led by Carter Savoy, who's I believe Anaheim Ducks draft pick maybe this past season, or maybe Edmonton Oilers, one of those. But he was a stud freshman last year, and he's having quite the sophomore success this year, and it's awesome to see that. And Bobby Brink as well, who's playing in the World Juniors for Team USA and is a Philadelphia Flyers draft pick. You just don't know how much longer these guys are going to be DU Pioneers because of how well they're playing, and it could be their last year, but they're lighting it up, and they're trying to make it a memorable final season if that's what it will be. And Yeah, I mean, ranked number 7, that's that's all it needs. I guess, the this podcast could be just everything. We're set across the board for the Avalanche and for the Pioneers, and just throwing together some streaks is all it takes, and hopefully the Eagles can start doing that. But we're seeing some success with the other teams. That's exciting stuff.
Yeah, and those couple guys that you mentioned, Bobby Brink, he is 4th in the NCAA. In all of the NCAA in points per game. Again, when you lead the whole entire NCAA men's hockey in goals, you're going to get some guys on that list. 1.44 points per game, 7 goals, 19 assists. Carter Savoy, Edmonton product, you mentioned. He is 7th in points per game, 1.38 points per game with 12 goals and 10 assists. And Massimo Rizzo, centerman, 11th. 1.31 points per game with 9 goals and 12 assists. So, I mean, yeah, Denver putting it together, and of course, always getting guys drafted out of that program, because even in the down years, Denver is still an elite hockey program in the NCAA. And they always have a good habit of hiring coaches that prepare these guys for the next level for sure. Logan O'Connor. But anyway, I couldn't help myself. But yeah, down the pike, Denver, they've got 4th ranked St. Cloud State on January 14th and 15th, and they are hosting them at Magnus Arena. So those will be some good games. Anytime that Denver faces a ranked opponent, not to mention an NCHC interdivisional opponent, they always turn it up to 11, and you have to. I mean, especially when you've got the St. Cloud States, the Minnesota Duluths, the North Dakotas. You got to be on your A game. And Denver, again, they're getting hot. They're stringing together those wins. And if they could take 1 or 2 games, they could boost their conference record as well. Overall record's great, but you want to get those conference wins as well. Again, those 4-point games, as it were, like I said, with the Avalanche Central Division games. But anyway, Denver really turning it on. Unfortunately, the next 2 teams that we're going to cover have pretty well followed the same pattern, unfortunately. Yeah. So Colorado College, the other side of the coin, they continue their struggles. 4-11-3 overall. They are 1-6-1 in conference play. That is quote unquote good for 7th place out of 8 teams in the NCHC. I think the only one worse than them currently is Miami of Ohio, but don't quote me on that. But anyway, what's that?
So I think you're right.
Oh, okay. They did shut out Omaha on December 4th. So, if we're going to try and find a silver lining, they got a 4-0 victory over Omaha at the beginning of December, and they beat Arizona State on December 18th, 4-2. So you have had wins in the month of December, but those are 2 of your 4 wins. Next up, they are going to Miami of Ohio. They're going to play them on January 7th and 8th this weekend. So Colorado College not coming back, but we still got to make it to Robson Arena sometime and cover a Tigers game. You think?
Definitely. Yeah. I want to see that new facility they got built out over there too. So you haven't been, right? Have you? Did you go?
I have not been. Nope.
Okay.
Not yet.
Okay. Yeah. No, we definitely have to do that. Yeah, absolutely. I've never been to a Colorado College game, or maybe I have when they came to play DU and in that, but I've only really been to Magnus Arena as far as college events. So yeah, let's go check it out. It's a beautiful new facility from what I've seen on Twitter, at least.
Yeah, no, I've heard nothing but good things on Twitter and just otherwise, publications, print publications and all that. So, yeah, I want to go see it. Like I said, it reminds me of an updated Broadmoor World Arena, the original one that got tore down back in '94. And that was one of my first hockey games, was the fact that, Colorado College, I believe they played Western Michigan in the WCHA back in the day. And it was the first round of the playoffs, and unfortunately they got eliminated. But yeah, I want to go see Robson Arena. I almost called it Magnus Arena, but that's in Denver. Anyway, we're kind of gushing here about arenas and coveting arenas. So yeah, exactly. Oh, this reminds me of this. Let's move on to Air Force, because we've got our favorite segment coming up, and we want to cover Air Force. So let's do that. Air Force Falcons not faring too well either, unfortunately. Expected 5-11-2, kind of almost an identical record to Colorado College, but 3-7-2-2 in the Atlantic Hockey Conference, I guess you could call it. And they did win and get a tie/shootout win over Canisius at the beginning of December. And that's something weird. Like that tie, it goes down officially as a tie, but then they also win the shootout and get 2 points. So I don't know what college hockey is smoking, but it's like you want to, or maybe it's just the Atlantic, maybe it's just Atlantic hockey. I mean, I don't know, but you have this weird thing that says 3-3 tie, and then in parentheses it says SOW for shootout win. So it's like, so that's what the 3-7-2-2 was. Is one of those twos is shootout wins. So
I hate when they do that. Like like the AHL does that a little bit too. Like with like the overtime and like
overtime
shootouts
losses and shootout losses.
So it's like 4 numbers, 5 numbers. Like let's just put those together. They're the same thing. Like
keep it simple.
Yeah. And college, I don't know what they're trying to do over there, but it doesn't make sense to me either.
Yeah, but anyway, next up, Niagara University on January 14th and 15th. So they get this weekend off before hosting at the Falcon Ice Arena or whatever it's called. I don't know what their ice stadium's called. Oh my God. I'm terrible.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Falcon Arena. I don't know.
Falcon Ice Arena. Talons. The Nest. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen a game at the Ice Arena, and I just had a brain fart. I do not mean to be disrespectful to any of the Air Force Falcons fans, because I know that at least a couple listen to this program, so forgive me for that. But anyway, Scott, are you ready, my friend?
Oh, yeah. I've been waiting 2 months for this.
Oh, yeah. It's time for, like I said, our favorite segment, and I want to cue up some good transition music here.
Yeah. Outer space.
Outer space. I love it. Well, we are a couple of space cadets, so that does check out. But here we are asking the feed, where we field questions from the people, from the fans of the program and fans of the Avalanche, Eagles, and Colorado Collegiate Hockey. So first and foremost, let's start with the first guy on the list. Dude, where's Makar? At Joel the Sakic. Welcome back, Scott. Who are some realistic trade deadline targets for the Avs?
Yeah, and I was joking around with myself, I guess, when I was reading through these questions. I think we got a couple, so we can just lump in both of these. I think there's another one about the trade deadline too. I don't remember where it was on this list, but
I think it's
always,
but yeah,
it's always so funny. Like the turn of the new year, it always seems to be just the biggest topic of concern is who are the trade deadline targets, even though it's like 3 months away from now. But yeah, we could talk about it. It's fun. I really don't expect the Avalanche to be a busy team, really at all this season. But there are some fun targets out there. I don't know if there's like one area that they kind of need help in the most, but maybe wing depth is always good. And there's some interesting ones out there, like young guys like Jake DeBrusk, come to mind. And out of Boston, he's trying to get out. They're trying to shop him, and they couldn't work out a trade beginning of the season, but he's still an option. And he's young. He's like 25, 26, and I think he'd fit the mold of the team. Other than that, there's veteran guys like Phil Kessel. They've kind of floated that idea around with the Avalanche organization. I think he'd be a fun acquisition, and he's looking to win a cup too. And just adds that veteran depth. He's a little bit slower, but he can score goals. And it's not that that's really a huge issue for the Avalanche right now, but again, another winger that's out there too. And then probably the guy that I like the most would be Riley Smith out of Vegas. Rumor has it they might be trying to shop him, and he's been amazing for Vegas since he got picked up by them in the expansion draft of 2017, whenever that was. And so they brought in Jack Eichel, and they're probably trying to ship him out, and he's kind of the candidate to go. And he's got a cheap contract; it's only like $5 million, something like that. And he again scores goals. He's fast, fits the mold of the team. So I think he's one of those guys that I would go after the most. How realistic those are? Yeah, I think that was your question. Probably not very. Like I said, I don't expect the Avalanche to be very busy. Shopping. Again, it always depends on where they're at. As far as in the standings, or if this looks like the year that they should commit and go for it, or if there's injuries, things like that. There's a lot of questions that need to be answered before we get to the point. But it's fun talking about it for a little bit. But yeah, I don't think a lot of GMs really know what their strategy is until about a month before the the trade deadline comes. That's like where are we at in the standings? Where do we think we're going to finish? Do we have a chance this year to win the cup? Let's go all in. Let's trade, these draft picks. Let's get rid of some of these young guys to make a big push for, Riley Smith or one of these guys that has playoff experience with Vegas and, can help us win the cup. Or if, we're feeling good, like where we're at with things, which, is generally where Joe Sakic is, during the trade deadlines, is he's pretty, happy with where his team's at and kind of adds small little depth pieces. None of it's super exciting. And I know he kind of got criticized last year for, bringing in some of these older guys and some of these former Avalanche players that,
Right.
And it didn't, kind of bit him in the ass a little bit, I think. And people were upset at him. And it's just kind of the name of the game. I thought at the time they were pretty solid signings. And I get where his rationale was with, bringing in these guys that played in our organization before, they can step in. They've gone on playoff runs with us. Let's bring them in and they can quickly learn the systems. They already know them, and we'll hit the ground running in the playoffs. But, it kind of just didn't pan out the way they thought. But I don't think, any of these options are realistic, the ones I just listed above, but they're exciting nonetheless. And obviously they're on the wish list, and it'd be a dream come true, but I don't expect any of that to really happen.
And, Av's Twitter was, excuse me, I'm just choking on Gatorade over here.
I've been looking at your screen. I was like, you're having an issue over there.
Well,
It's
yeah,
like on mute, just choking.
Yep. Yeah. Sometimes I completely forget how to drink liquids. This
It's tough.
this
It's hard stuff.
skill that we learn when we're infants, for crying out loud. But
It's innate. But yeah, sometimes
yeah,
you got to learn it, right?
I'm terrible about it though. Like I'll inhale at the most inappropriate times. It's like,
Dude, I'm the
where
same
did I
with like
learn this?
eating food. Like I can't. I don't wear white shirts anymore, or like white anything, because I miss my
good call.
mouth. Like it's pretty crazy. It's actually embarrassing. And yeah, fun fact about me, I guess.
I've inherited that sloppy gene from my father. When he passed away 6 years ago, we went through his closet in kind of a moment of lightheartedness, and he would wear these polo shirts, kind of like what I'm wearing right now, but he would always have a pocket because he worked in the semiconductor industry, and he'd always have, like in the 80s, he'd always have the calculator and pocket
Right.
protector and everything like that. He was a bit nerdy, like yours truly. That's
Nerdy.
where I get it from, but yeah, so he had probably 30 of these shirts that had, polo, collar, pocket, and all of them had stains on the front because he just the man had a hole in his lip, for crying out loud. But
I feel the same way.
I digress, and I'm glad we can share that, sloppy gene with each other, as it were, or slobby, SLOBBY. So yes, a little slobbishness. So
Yeah.
anyway, Marc-Andre Fleury, I know that name has been floated around quite a bit. I think in my opinion, I think Kemper is good. And I don't think you go out and try and get a Marc-Andre Fleury to get at least from what I've seen this season, a slight improvement. I know Marc-Andre Fleury, Vezina winner, like we said during the Chicago and Avalanche recap, but go ahead, Scott. What do you think?
I was going to say, he'd be an instant fan favorite, and like there's a lot of benefits to bringing him in. But the biggest thing with him is he had the issue with signing with Chicago. A lot of people weren't even sure if he was going to like play for Chicago. Chicago traded for him, and it was kind of just a lot of drama. Like he's not going to ever put on that suit. Like, he wants to go somewhere like his family's going to be comfortable. He want to go like back to Pittsburgh and like maybe retire. And, I get that. So twice in a season, I don't know if, he'd be willing to, get traded, but, to win a Stanley Cup, maybe, I could see it. Like if the Avalanche are really in a position where they're, the number one team in the league, and, it looks like things are trending that way for the Avalanche. Right. But I don't think you just give up on on a Darcy Kemper. Again, knock on wood, unless there's injuries that happen and it gets to that point, then yeah, maybe you seriously evaluate that option. But you'd have to ask Marc-Andre Fleury if that's something he'd want to do. Move twice. He's a big family guy and is in the waning parts of his career, and the sun's kind of setting, and he's really focused on like settling down with a family. And I don't know if he'd be down to just join the Avalanche for what would be a playoff run. Like he'd be on the team for 3 months or something like that. And that's a tough sell for a family to pack up and leave when he just decided to go to Chicago and unpack his bags, and family's settling in, and now tell him to move out to Denver it might be a tough sell, but it would be great. There's a lot of plus sides. If the Avalanche could pull it off, I think why not? But I don't think you really give up on Darcy Kemper right now, unless things really start not looking good with him or he gets injured. Then you kind of reevaluate. But that's a far cry probably. Again, like none of the ones we've said have been like realistic, but they are in a dream scenario. If you're build a team on your NHL game or whatever, that's probably what my team would look like too. I'd build around a Marc-Andre Fleury.
I mean, yeah, especially he's getting older, but his skill level's up there. But yeah, the Blackhawks have definitely not done him any favors whatsoever this season in front of him, and unfortunately, kind of like Phil Grubauer over in Seattle. It's amazing what a good defensive core in front of you will do. Even if you're
we all told him so. We knew that was going to happen. Like, the reason why, like Grubauer is like, that's why I don't think many people had a problem with him walking. Like, it was one of those things. Like the Avs were like the number one team last year in shot suppression. And, Ryan Graves was amazing with that, blocking shots. And then you had Eric Johnson for a bit. And, all those guys are just great at suppressing shots. They're averaging like 15 shots a game allowed or like something crazy like that, like under 20. And yeah, I mean, anytime your goalie's stopping less than 17 pucks, like it's a pretty easy day, and they're not even good high quality scoring chances. So you're gonna make any goalie look like a Vezina caliber goalie, and that's exactly what the Avalanche did to Philip Grubauer. And we kind of expected this to happen. Like he was gonna go to Seattle, and it wasn't gonna look nearly as good. And Seattle has not gotten off to the the start that a lot of people thought they were, and Vegas kind of set an unfair precedent with that. And Seattle can't really follow up, but hopefully things work out for them there. Obviously wish them well, but yeah, I mean, you have to have a good team in front of you. And again, it's a good sell for going back to Marc-Andre Fleury. It'd be a good sell for him to come here and possibly have a good chance of winning a Stanley Cup. But I think he's more concerned about his family life at the moment. And it's a tough sell for that.
Right. Yep. Yeah. You got to remember these guys are human beings. So that's going to be playing a big factor. It's not just pieces on a chessboard that you can shuffle around with no exterior consequences or external consequences rather. So anyway, Joel Sakic at Joel Sakic and at AZ Avs fan rather, JT was that Fleury question. Kind of a two-parter there. Let's keep moving on. Let's keep moving forward. Thanks for the questions, y'all. Teddy at TJ Tracy 92. Of course, Teddy chiming in with the question. What do you think about Cale's goal as a contender for goal of the year? Do you have to ask? Do you even have to ask? I mean, it's up there, if not at the top.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's been a couple of like really, really nice goals, and it's I mean, we're not even halfway through the season, so it's tough. But yeah, I mean, I think right now it's it's a huge a high up there contender for goal of the year. And but I think at the moment, just for how unique the goal was, the the Sonny Milano, Trevor Zegras, like Michigan style goal where he flipped it up behind the net, and then the guy batted it in. Sonny Milano batted it in. Just for how creative that was and how it's kind of like swept the nation on like social media. Everyone's trying to do it now, and you're seeing college players trying it and like doing all these things, and it's fun. Like his goal was it was amazing. Cale Makar's was, but I think right now he's number two to that goal with Trevor Zegras and Sonny Milano, just for how creative it was and how hard that is to pull off. I don't think people realize that, but Cale Makar, it's like that was an amazing goal, but he does that shit all the time. Like maybe not necessarily like that, and he doesn't even score on most of these goals, but like we see him take it end to end, basically every single night, and just carve through defensemen and forwards, and go between his legs or whatever, and like maybe he hits the goalie. But if that would have gone in, that would have been a highlight reel goal. Like that would have been goal of the year. But he finally scored on one of them, and it was beautiful. But it's up there. It's top three so far, and we'll see where the rest of the year goes. Again, we still have like 3/4 of the year, it feels like, but I'm personally putting him at number 2, and I know Avs fans don't want to hear that, but
No, that's
to
fair.
beat that Trevor
That's fair.
Zegras, Sonny Milano goal.
Oh, that was the just the hand-eye coordination and dexterity it takes to lift a puck and then knock it out of the air like that.
Yeah.
I don't fault you at all for that. But dare I say that Cale Makar, whenever he hits the ice, is a rather visible guy?
Yes, visible is a perfect word for him, and I'm sure
Yes.
Greg Cronin's mouth is watering every time he sees him, and he's probably just showing highlight videos of Cale Makar to all his defensemen in the locker room, and
Oh yeah,
that's
look at how visible he is on the ice.
He's the definition of visibility. It's like he's the guy that your jaw drops every time he's out there, and I just love the way that Cronin's always like said that. It's like the way he described it as like, if you knew nothing about the game of hockey, if you were a first-time watcher, first-time viewer, you go to a hockey rink, you go to an NHL hockey game, you have no idea what icing is. You don't even know what's going on. You don't know any of the players' names. Like, who are you going to notice on the ice? It's just like, wow, that guy's like, objectively good at, the sport of hockey. And that's like really what visibility means. And that's Cale Makar and like Nathan McKinnon, those guys, like they're just, a step above the rest, and they're faster than everybody, and they're just doing crazy stuff with their hands. And visible is a great word for it.
Thanks for the question, Tracy. Appreciate it. Teddy, rather. It was TJ Tracy. Sorry, I don't know why. At TJ Teddy at TJ Tracy 92. Thank you for the question. Always. Puckman. Kind of the same question here. I'll read it just so that we know that we cover this ground. But Puckman can't die at Unpucky Guy. Welcome back off scot-free. Now you're the one who fielded this question, so again, you're getting all the love on the Twitters today.
Yes.
So welcome back off scot-free. I think the big question is, what does the team do with Kemper at the end of the season? Oh, okay. This is a little bit different than I first read it. Should the team look to possibly acquiring a veteran goaltender or write out the last year of his contract? And I think we've I really personally, if I may chime in, I think
go for it, please.
It honestly, ride Kemper and see how the playoffs work out. I mean, see how far you get in the playoffs. I mean, shit, if you make the Western Conference final, re-sign that guy. Like,
yeah, I mean, he's still young. He's talented, and I was excited about him. Like, we talked about it in like earlier podcasts before the season started. Like, I was so pro, like, acquiring Darcy Kemper and like, let your Vezina caliber guy go, because again, like I just touched on a few minutes ago, it's not really about the goaltender. It's about the 5 people in front of him. And what you need your goaltender for at the end of the day is to, when they make it past those 5 guys, like you really only want them stopping, 15 pucks a game, 20 pucks a game, whatever it is. That means, the team in front of him was doing their job. The goalie is your last line of defense. It's the team defense is really doing the heavy lifting on those things. And, last year the Avalanche had an amazing, team defense. It's been average this year, and hopefully it gets a little bit better. And I think we're starting to see that on the stat line for Darcy Kemper. He's made some amazing saves throughout the year. But I think, as the team defense gets a little bit better, and hopefully it does get a little bit better and on par with what it was last year, I think, Darcy Kemper could potentially be a Vezina caliber, goaltender, and, has the potential, like you said, to take them to the Western Conference Finals, and, if not a cup final, and, go from there. But yeah, I'm not ready to abandon him and ditch him for a Fleury or anybody else at the moment. I think he's great. He's more than serviceable. And, I mean, if he takes this team further than, any of Bednar's goalies have been, or, Bednar has been with us for quite some time. She's got a new contract too. That's great. But yeah, I mean, if he proves he can carry this team like through the playoffs and, past where Grubauer was able to take them, and absolutely re-sign the guy. And, goalies are hard to find. And, you got Eustace coming up, the pipeline quickly, and he might still be a couple years out. So,
still have Francouz.
Exactly. And these guys, the timeline kind of works out perfectly. Like Kemper, like you said, I think he has a year left. And, that might be perfect. Let's ride out this year, see what he can do. He's already signed for next year as well. And then, the 24, 25 season, whatever that would be, 2 seasons from now when Eustace is ready to go, then hopefully he's NHL ready at that point. He's your franchise goaltender. That's always kind of been the plan. So I think the timeline works out perfectly to keep Kemper for the next couple of years. And hopefully he can get the job done.
Yeah, and both him and Francois are 31. And then you've also got, Eustace is young, but I mean, Eustace is 21. Trent Miner's 20. He would be a good guy to keep with the Eagles, in my opinion. And then Hunter Miska's 26. Another good guy, I think, to keep with the Eagles as well. Give him, put him in, have him healthy. Anyway, we're talking Avs. So thank you for the question. Puckman can't die. Only the actors who portray him. At Unpucky Guy. Did you get that reference, Sean? Or Sean? Fuck. Scott, sorry.
It's okay. It's been 2 months since we've done this, and I get it. You've been meeting with Sean. Your side
I've been recording for a while. Been recording with my podcast
cheating on
side
me.
piece.
No, I get it.
Of course, he may consider you the podcast side piece.
Yeah, I was gonna say I am at this point. You guys recorded triple the amount of podcasts together than we have.
We're doing episode number 73 tomorrow night. So
yeah, so
that's
literally triple, whatever that is. Yeah. Triple what we've done. What are we on? 20?
This is 30.
30? Okay, 30.
Yep. Oh yeah.
I say 28, but there you go.
There you go. Yeah.
What was the question? I forgot. You were getting at something and you rudely called me Sean.
I did. I'm sorry, Scott.
Just kidding. I'm not mad.
Scott McDonald.
I'll forgive you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. No, I was just saying thank you, Puckman. Can't die. Only the actors who portray him.
Reference.
I asked if you understood that reference.
No, I don't think I do.
It is a Simpsons reference. It is the character of Duff Man, and so he's kind of a dude bro that dresses up in the Duff beer paraphernalia and regalia, and he goes, "Oh yeah, Duff Man can't die. Only the actors who portray him." So I was kind of anyway.
Never been a big Simpsons guy.
That's fair.
I'm team Family Guy. That's always been my show.
That's your generation, I mean,
Seth MacFarlane, and I've probably seen every episode 3 times. And
ooh, wow.
But Simpsons is you gotta pat them on the back. I've seen some episodes. It's just not my thing. But
not your cup of tea.
They've been going for the longest tenured TV show of all time at this point.
25, 30 seasons, something like that. Yeah,
it's crazy.
I mean,
so it's obviously whatever they're doing is working, and people like it. So.
I just turned 35, and I remember when I was a kid watching Simpsons episodes during dinner time.
Yeah, it's older than me at this point. It probably came out what was it, maybe 95? Is that when it came out?
No, we're talking early 80s, or not early 80s. Sorry, late 80s.
The Simpsons, really?
Yeah, on the Tracy Ullman show. That's where they got their start.
Wow.
Tracy Ullman show. Yep, early 80s.
Even older than me. I'm a 95
Correct.
Kid, so that's crazy.
South Park came out a year after you were born. I was watching South Park.
I think Family Guy and South Park both came out 96, 95, in there. So I guess it is more my generation, but
it is, yeah. But I still love Family Guy. I mean, Family Guy was hilarious too. I started watching that in middle school, but I digress. Boy, yeah, we're all over the place. Give us 2 months off, and we're all catching up and reminiscing.
We're just catching up. This should be personal phone calls, but you guys get to listen in on this. So
it's true.
So too bad.
So thank you, YouTube listeners out there. Thank you. Right. Thank you, cards like Jimmy Fallon. I wanted to chime in real quick. Gary Thurner basically said, "Sup, Scott? Good to see you." And
just flexed his Brazil,
flexing his Brazilian photo with the big old, looks like champagne there, and he's hiding out in Brazil right now, but still catching games. And you're like, hell yeah, brother. So
that guy, Gary, I don't know what Gary does, but yeah, I mean, Gary, he's a worldly traveler, and he enjoys his his traveling, and I hope to travel with him one day. He looks like he has a good time, and I wish I was there right now, splitting that bottle of champagne with him. That's right up my alley.
You gotta surround yourself with folks who know how to party, and Gary looks like he knows how to party, or at least take it easy in exotic locales. That's for sure.
Yes,
but
absolutely.
Last but not least, guess who? Gil is in the house. Gil Mainclang, Gil _Mainclang on the Twitters. Scott, have you seen the majority of those movies that he asked for the list?
Yeah, because he gave us 2 options, I guess.
He did.
And
he did.
Honestly, Major League, never seen it.
Okay.
Rocky, Happy Gilmore, Hoosier. So I've seen 4 out of 5, but
okay. I have only seen 2.
So you want to do the second question, then the alternate question that he provided us?
Yes.
I'll do it real quick, so we'll answer both. So since I've seen a majority of those first ones, so between Major League, Hoosiers, Remember the Titans, Rocky, and Happy Gilmore, we were supposed to rank those. I've seen 4 out of 5, so automatically Major League is 5 because I haven't seen it. So I don't know. Maybe it's a great movie, but baseball movies aren't like, really my thing. Rocky of that list is probably my number 1. Damn. Then I think you got to go Happy Gilmore, Hoosiers, Remember the Titans. Now, none of those are really, my favorites, or probably in my top 5 normally, but he gives us the option to name our top 5 sports movies. So I'll pass the mic off to you, Cece, and you let us know which are your top 5.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, the only 2 that I've seen out of that group, and I get lambasted for this all the time. You haven't seen Hoosiers, you haven't seen Remember the Titans, you haven't seen Major League. It's like, no, I haven't. Okay. But I've seen Rocky. I've seen Happy Gilmore. So he did give us the option for our top 5 sports movies. And, I'd say the majority of them are probably going to be hockey. Big surprise there, right? So, but gosh, I mean, there's so many sports movies out there too. It's like, that's such a wide genre to pull from.
I honestly I had to look. I'm looking at it right now. I had to look it up. It's because there are so many sports movies. I can't just name 5 off the top of my head. But now that I'm seeing the list, oh, okay. There's a lot I would put in my top 5. But
okay, well, maybe I should defer to you then.
Okay.
And
I mean, obviously, you got to go with the classics. Hockey movies that's what I grew up on. I've been a hockey fan my entire life. Been playing hockey, so seeing a good majority of those ones. And obviously, I mean, Miracle on Ice is, you get the goosebumps every time with that one. That was great. I don't even know, was that came out 2001, 2? I don't know, super early. So
yeah,
maybe later, 2003. I don't know, something like that. So yeah, I was probably 7 or 8, and just getting into hockey at that point. Just started playing, and that was I wanted to be on the ice with those guys. But that's probably up there as my number 1, and then Mighty Ducks obviously is a great one. Other than that, geez, I really liked Blindside. I don't know if that's really a sports movie. I would put Rocky in my top 5 for sports movies, honestly. So I guess that's 3. God, I gotta go through this list again. Okay, so they have Dodgeball listed as a sports movie, and honestly, I think you got to count it. I think Dodgeball is it's a sport, and it was one of my favorite movies growing up. So I don't know if they put them in the top 5 of all time, but that is if we're called a sports movie, that's definitely one of my favorites, and probably seen it 10 times. I would say that Goon is great too.
Mm-hmm.
They got Talladega Nights too, I guess, on there. These aren't traditional sports movies, but I think they count. Oh, and it's Sandlot. Okay, Sandlot's definitely in my top 5.
Yeah,
so I'll give you 8, and make of that list what you will, but I would say those 8.
Okay. Rocky's up there. Rocky's a classic. I like Goon. I like Miracle. Those are great hockey movies. We Are Marshall. I think that's an underrated one because the team
McConaughey
gets wiped out. All right. Yeah, McConaughey coming in and coaching that team. Yeah. I like We Are Marshall. That's a good one. Happy Gilmore's fun, of course. If you're talking comedy, I think you could have a top 5 comedy sports movies in its own
great subgenre.
Yeah,
no doubt.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, let's see. See, now I'm looking too. Probably not Shaolin Soccer.
What? No, that's my number 2. What do you mean?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Cool Runnings. Cool Runnings is a great movie.
What was the one about the Jamaican bobsled team?
That's Cool Runnings.
Oh, is it? Okay.
That's Cool Runnings. Yep.
Okay, that's a good one.
Yeah. Let's see. What other ones would I be willing to put on this list? Thinking outside the Rudy's good. I have seen Rudy. That's a good one. But kind of thinking outside the box a little bit here, I really enjoyed Moneyball.
I don't know how much. I did say I don't like baseball movies really, but I did list Sandlot and Moneyball. So I guess those are probably my two exceptions.
Sandlot is solid. Sandlot is a good Yeah, that's a good. Yeah, Sandlot is good. So, yeah, I'm trying to think of any others I want to add to this list. Probably not Fever Pitch with Jimmy Fallon and Drew Barrymore.
You're missing out. A great rom-com.
Yeah. Okay.
No, never seen it.
Oh, okay. You're just being silly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just
Caddyshack. Yeah, that's
I haven't seen
Bad News
Caddyshack.
Bears, Rocky, and they have this site has Hoop Dreams. Never seen that one.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
But
I'm just looking on the Google. Yeah, just looking on Google here. But yeah, I mean, there's.
we just listed probably like 30.
Oh my
of them,
God!
but-
Yeah, that didn't narrow it down at all. And I am
But
so
hopefully we
sorry
just
about that,
jog
but-
the memories of some of you guys listening on some of these classics, and feel free to chime in. I'd love to hear what
Yeah.
what yours are, and maybe I'll come up with a more comprehensive list of my top 5. But
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's oh, didn't want to start that. Sorry. But yeah, it's definitely tell us on Twitter at Front RNG Hockey.
Sorry, Gil's listening live, and he told me Blindside is complete trash. Sorry, Scott. I don't know about that one, Gil.
Wow.
He said we both need to watch Major League. It's your homework assignment.
Okay.
I assume
All
it's a
right.
baseball movie. Gil, is it?
It is.
I don't know.
It's
Again,
a ridiculous baseball movie. I think get a big kick out of it. So, but
all right. Well,
Blindside is
I'll
complete
tune in.
trash. Oh
I don't know
Lord.
about that. I liked it.
Yeah.
I like those
Anyway.
tearjerker, whatever, like Radio and Blindside.
Oh, sure.
and-
Why not? Yeah, those are great. Anyway,
anything Disney, really, honestly. Like they love doing that.
my favorite sports movie is Cars. Just kidding. Just kidding.
That is a good one, though.
It is a good one. It is a
Yeah.
good one. Good,
No
good
shame
job.
in saying that.
Wow. Good chow. Anyway, all right. Well, that will do it for episode number 30 of the Front Range Hockey Podcast. So, let's see. Don't forget to follow our show on pretty well any major podcast platform: Google, Apple, Stitcher, Spotify. And guess what? On Spotify, you can actually rank your podcast now. So go in, give us 5 stars on Google, Apple, Spotify. Show us the love. Let us know it. And DJ Skysonics, who provided our theme music, our transition music, our outro music. It was her second most listened to podcast of 2021. She showed that off on
got a
Wrapped.
couple of those.
So-
You know, the Spotify Wrapped. We were pretty stoked to see that we were in people's top 5. Like there was a few, and yeah, DJ Skysonics. Appreciate that. Appreciate the music.
Yeah.
Our official DJ now at this point, and
She is spinning. She's spinning the hits here on Front Range Hockey Radio. So, but
on the ones
yeah,
and twos.
yes, you got it. You got it. Follow Front Range Hockey on Twitter at Front Range Hockey, or Front RNG Hockey rather. Scott, where can the people find you, my friend?
Well, you can't find me that often these days. I'm a little elusive, but I'll be back. Like I said, beginning of the podcast. This year I did take a couple months off there, and I'm feeling good, feeling refreshed, and my life's back in order. Some days, better than others, but yeah, you'll find me on Twitter every once in a while at offscottfree. That's at 0FF Scott Free, and then I didn't do the point thing.
Yeah, I gotta
There it is.
reverse it here and
Something
be
like that. Yeah.
over there.
You guys see it if you're watching. If you're not
Yeah.
watching, none of that just made any sense, but it's okay.
Nope.
But yeah, and then also, might get back into the whole writing thing. I do miss it quite a bit, and when I do get to that point, in the next month here, I might, maybe a week off, or at least a couple times a month. Season get to the playoffs, and it gets a lot more exciting. I'll be at ColoradoHockeyNow.com with Adrian Dater, who I know most of you know very well and have very about, but that's all right.
Yeah, sorry, Scott's losing his at least on my end, he was kind of breaking up a little bit there. So but that's okay. Yeah. Sometimes you talk into a potato. It happens. But especially when you're from Idaho like me. But anyway. All right. Well, my name is CC Hockley. You can find my written work at Full Press Hockey, fullpresshockey.com. Pretty straightforward. You can check out this and a ton of other great hockey podcasts, plus other great sports shows on the Full Press Radio Network, which we are a part of at fullpresscoverage.com. And with all the great programming out there, we appreciate you guys tuning in guys, gals, and non-binary pals for tuning in. So with that said, once again, thank you for listening. Stay colorful, my friends, and welcome back. It's good to be back, and it's good to be hanging out with Scott again. So yeah,
Feelings mutual, my friend. Yeah, strap in. We got plenty coming in the next few months here. And again, we might miss a couple weeks, a week or two here and there. And that's just part of life. Yeah, we got a lot of shit going on. I know you guys
we do.
Don't necessarily know that. We like to clue you guys in every once in a while on what our personal lives look like and our other jobs. And we're all busy humans, and that includes you guys listening. And we appreciate you taking some time out to enjoy this, hour and a half long of us rambling about some of it about hockey, some of it about movies, and some of it about, other things. So we appreciate it nonetheless, but we're back. I'm excited, and it's going to be a good year.
Go follow Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying, be nice. Remember, we talked about at the beginning of the podcast. Don't be an asshole. Be kind.
Yes.
Life is tough for everybody these days, and the last 2 years have been absolute hell. So hopefully 2022 is a little bit better for us, and it's with each of us looking in the mirror and being a better person.
Doesn't cost anything to be kind and compassionate. So there's that. But I did want to say before we roll the outro music, go give DJ Skysonics a follow at DJ SKYSONIX on Twitter. You can also follow her SoundCloud and listen to some of her original music now. She just dropped an EP about a month ago. That's amazing. So go check it out. DJ Skysonics at DJ SKYSONIX on the Twitters. So with that said, we'll see you guys later.
We're back.
Woo! Party in the Front Range Hockey House.
2022.
Woo!